welcome to another episode of the Alley Report. I'm temporarily relocated from my normal recording because of construction on the house, but my youngest volunteered her room. Um, Today we were talking with David Simmons, author of Ghost of East Baltimore, Ghost of West Baltimore, and tons of short stories, including Django Bottom Belfry. Thanks for coming on here.
Hey man, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of
Good to be here.
course. Um, with the Ghost of East Baltimore and West Baltimore, and West Baltimore is the most recent one, right?
Yeah, That's the sequel, yeah.
Um, I love how you made the protagonist like he just got out of prison, so like in addition with dealing with things of saving the world or saving his community, he has to battle curfews, he has to battle like a system almost obsessed with getting him back in to the prison. And yeah, so like I
Well,
love that you went that direction.
thank you, and thank you for reading it, man. That means a lot to me. I'm glad that resonated with you. That's cool, man. That's really cool.
Yeah. um like, and I don't know, like there seems, I love when authors like talk about like their community or their city, and really showcasing the side of it that people might not be familiar with. Like what was going when you started writing these books? What did you want to show about Baltimore? Like what did you want us to know about it?
I think The Wire is a great show. One of the best shows to ever come out, period. But I think a lot of times Baltimore gets associated with that, and I just saw so much more in Baltimore than just a drug dealing show, you know? Not that the show is just that, it's more than that, but you get what I'm saying. So like there's a lot of history here, so I wanted to bring that out and show that.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah.
did a fantastic job with that.
Thank you.
And also I noticed like when you're writing, you don't limit yourself to just like one subgenre of horror. Like you've written urban horror, psycho, cyberpunk, and, and do you set out to do different subgenres, different styles, or is that just you just kind of write whatever you feel like, essentially?
I think I'm such a fan of all horror for the most part. I'm so easily entertained and easily pleased as long as it's horror or horror adjacent. It doesn't take much for me. So I say that just to say I have so many different favorite horror authors that do different types of horror. For instance, Brian Evanson with that very kind of literary horror that's
Yeah.
very kind of unknown. We can go to Brian Keene with more of the extreme horror, the very traditional, violent, extreme slasher type horror. We can go to Brian Allen Carr. I'm just naming Brian's right now. I fuck with you, feel me? Because they got it locked right now in the game. And Brian Allen Carr, his is more like surreal and transgressive and more bizarro. So I like all of these different writers. I like all of these different types of horror movies. I just watched this movie on Netflix called The Deliverance. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, I haven't
It
seen
got,
it yet. It's on my
but that
list.
joint is a banger, yo. That's like the Black Exorcist, man. Like for real. That's what that is. That joint is
Okay.
great, man. Like I like that. You got black horror like that. Then you got the intersection of religious horror and black horror together. You feel me? And
Yeah.
then take that, add some cosmic horror into that. Like I love all of that. So in my writing, I love the idea of pulling from all those different creators. You feel me? And
Yeah.
putting it in my own mix, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Because I'm the same way. Like I'll see something like watch a Guillermo del Toro movie, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, I want to do something monsters. I want to do something like that. Like you hit those influences, like pushes you to like, and I want to see what influenced them. And same way with like music or books or anything. It's like I do love to see also what influenced the person that's influencing me. Like what did they start reading? Like start working backwards, and then you find like some hidden gems that way.
Absolutely. That's when you reverse engineering your inspiration. You feel me? You go look at your favorite authors and you're like, wait, what are they saying in their interviews that they really a big fan of, you know? And they're like, man, that's like, I ain't gonna lie, man, like, I had to do a lot of catching up with horror, as I got older, because I had seemed to have missed a lot of people. And as an example, I remember finding out about Peter Straub for real through Brian Emerson. You feel me? And like, because he
Yeah,
was such a fan of him. So like that's how you, just like you said, you can find out who inspire the people who inspire you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, they have a huge influence. Yeah. So, you mentioned some of the people that like have been, pushed you different genres. Like, what's something like what are you reading right now that you're really
Hmm.
enjoying?
Right at this very moment, I'm finishing up a book by called Coyote by Max Rustano. Have you heard of this book?
I haven't. No.
Yo, it's good, yo. I'm like, it's like the making of a serial killer, kind of, or the making of a
Oh,
killer. Like, it's. I can't really even explain it. It's just, it's dark, it's moody, it's got a lot of atmosphere to it. That's what I'm reading right now. What are you reading right now?
right now I'm reading The Fisherman by John Lanigan. Like I've heard that's
Sure.
yeah, like I've that's like a modern classic that I'm late on, and like I'm about two-thirds through it, and I don't want it to end because it's the same thing. It's that like that atmosphere, that moody creepiness. Like I love that. I love when it makes you feel uneasy.
Yes, yes. I a book that I just finished recently that is still sticking with me right now. I'm still thinking about it from here and there. Is Deliver Me by L. Nash. Have you read this
Okay,
book?
I haven't read that one yet.
Bro, this book is so brutal, bro. It's so brutal, but I still think about it too. And it's got a lot to do with babies, with having with like childbirth and all that.
Yeah,
And like I was telling you before we got on a call, you know, I got twins on the way. They do in November. So like I think the idea of reading that kind of childbirth horror with having babies on the way, it just kind of affected me. So that's a joint that's really been on my mind lately.
yeah. I've also found like that I read a lot of horror where danger would happen to kids and things, and is like almost like before I had kids, it would get to me, but not as much as after. Like all of a sudden, I'm just like, ugh, like I don't know, it has an extra layer of fear for me
I
because it is like,
completely agree with you and relate to that.
yeah, the
Absolutely.
yeah the terrors of parenthood, where you just like where the world becomes like a Final Destination movie because all you can see is the dangers.
Man, sometimes I'll be like in situations with my daughter, my wife, where I just be like, wow, like anything could happen. And I just start looking everywhere in the room and at everything that's there and what could happen, you know what I mean? Giving myself crazy anxiety, but that's the world. So,
Yeah,
you got to be prepared, right?
yeah, that's the yeah, and then you find that balance. Like you don't want to be the helicopter parent, but at the same time, like you're just aware of all the
Right.
things. Like,
You got to be aware. You got to be aware of all things with kids at all times. Hmm.
um, oh, you recently had a story in the Brave New Weird anthology, Food is Poison.
Cool. Hell yeah. Man, appreciate that you know that. Yeah, that was cool. Shout out to Tenebris, man. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to everybody who put me on with that joint. I appreciate that for them putting me in the anthology.
Yeah, was that a story like that you wrote for the anthology specifically, or was that one you had one you're like, I think this would fit with what they're doing?
No, it was the story was originally published by a website publisher called Close to the Bone.
Hmm.
And they published it, and then it was submitted for like their brave new weird anthology joint, and they selected it joint.
Oh, nice.
So I was grateful for that. That was a fun story to write and to be included amongst the other authors in that collection is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, does that? Yeah, that's gotta make you feel good whenever like you have a story in something, and it's authors that you look up to or a publisher you look up to, and it's like, man, like I'm on the level now.
Absolutely, bro. For real, like when it comes down to it, yeah, like off this writing, I want to make a bag off this writing. I'm trying to get this bread off these books. You feel me? But when it come down to it in the long run, ain't nothing cooler than the fact that now I get arcs from my favorite authors.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
I mean, I want that bag, but I'd take that before anything else. That my favorite author's giving me arcs. Before. Man, that's awesome. You know what I mean? I love that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts.
It's a thing that keeps you going because it can
Yeah,
because sometimes writing can be lonely at times, and also like you said, you're trying to get to a point where you can support yourself to a degree on it, and it's slow going to get there sometimes.
yeah. It's a balance. It's a balance between being able to be everywhere because you can't. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? But if you could really make that trajectory of your career move it a certain way. I mean, I just know like my thing is this, man. I got a 6 foot table, I got a nice displaying cloths, a bunch of books, and I got a tent, and I set that motherfucker up in the middle of Baltimore when there ain't even a permit or event. I just post up with that motherfucker and sell 50, 100 books on the block. Like I'm selling dope. You feel me? Like
that's amazing.
that's that's the way I think you should get your shit out there as a writer, like rappers back in the day selling CDs and
Yeah,
mixtapes out of their trunk and shit. You feel me? So, but the thing is, you can't be out there in the streets doing that all the time. If you got kids, you got to take care of, or 9 to 5, you got to take care of other responsibilities. You feel me? So it's a balance of doing that, you know? So
yeah,
you can, yeah.
yeah. Absolutely. Because um, I haven't actually done a lot of selling in person. Like I have a con I'm going to go to in March, the Ghoulish Book Festival, but like,
Oh, nice. Shout out to Max Booth. Shout out
yep,
to Max. That's what's up. Shout out.
absolutely, yeah. So
Mhm.
I'm super excited about that. But it's one of those like I should be setting up, like you said, it should be getting my stuff out there more. Because there are like beyond like I've seen people that really do that all the time, like you do. It's just local stuff, small stuff, like set up on the street corner, sell some books, get some attention.
Bro, the police ain't gonna bother you when you're selling books. Like anything else, if you try to sell, like t-shirts, obviously illegal things, like anything else but books and bottled water, the police ain't gonna mess with you. But look, you going to Ghoulish, so you already about to kill it there because Ghoulish is a great event. So that's
Yeah,
gonna be great.
yeah, I'm excited for it. I've got to start getting things ready. Guys, like, oh, like I can have a table. I gotta get copies of my books.
Yep, gotta make it happen. It's gonna be good though. Ghoulish is good. Broken River Books, published Go See Baltimore and Go to West Baltimore. Kelby Losek, he from Broken River, he was out there this last year and the year before. He said it was great.
Oh
It
man,
was a
I
great
can't wait.
time. Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
whenever like, have you found that you've made some you've got some fans, you've got some readers. Whenever setting up like local, like you have, like you're making connections
Yeah.
with people.
Yeah. I have some like yeah, I have some like what Stephen King used to call them. You say constant readers or
Yep,
whatever.
constant
That's what he
readers.
used to say. That was
Mhm.
his line. You feel me? But I got some like I got people who's like down with my movement. That's trying to see what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? That try to and I love them for it. They're trying to eat up whatever it is that I put out. And it's cool
Nice.
because a lot of my so I have fans and readers. Okay, so I have readers who are book readers that came across me the way people find books
Mhm.
through, you know, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and other writers, And then there are people that I have that are people I know who are not really book readers, but they read all of my shit. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're more we'll say blue collar, I'm talking about people working in factories, people working, what I'm saying, construction, people, cutting trees, people, in the street selling dope, whatever it is, people who not really reading books, but they reading my shit. And they going on to Hobart, they going on to Apocalypse Confidence, they reading whatever of my shit is, you feel me?
Yeah.
And those are the people I love engaging with everybody. I really enjoy engaging with those type of readers because they ask me the most interesting questions and it's like fun to talk about it. They be like, what the fuck was you writing about that? Shit like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, that's got to be like such a boost because, like you said, it's people that wouldn't, you know, might not even normally read that much, but you've written something that's spoken to them, or they recognize the setting, they recognize that their community in it. and so they're
They be
excited
looking
for it.
for themselves. They
Yeah,
be looking for themselves to see if I wrote something that is like from real life, but then I put a twist on it. You know what I mean? So they're checking to see if
yeah,
they're in there and stuff like that. And that's always fun, you know?
yeah. Because I mean, there is, um, yeah. Because normally with like the mainstream bestseller books, you don't see working class represented very little,
Right.
if often. And if you do, a lot of times it's somebody who's not really in touch with that community, does as never worried about where a meal came from, where the next meal is going to come from. So like they can't do that
Right.
authentically. It almost feels like a parody, like what they're doing.
Yeah. I think authenticity in art is very important. Um, in the same way that people are very anti-AI, which they have every right to be. I'm not saying I'm not. I'm just saying, but in the same way that people go really hard for that anti-AI stuff, I'm really big about authenticity in art, and I'm really anti people writing about shit they don't know. You feel me? So
Yeah,
like, I agree with you on that.
yeah, because and writing what they don't know, but not bothering to talk to anyone, to ask anybody if they are like, 'cause people will talk to you. Like that's what I found. Like if I'm writing something that might be out of my depth, like you can go talk to people. Like they,
You absolutely can. And you want to know something? That to me, not that I'm some gatekeeper of anything, I'm just telling you what I like. If I found that an author wasn't from or what didn't grow up or didn't really personally experience something, but wrote about it after researching that community and getting to know that community and speaking to whatever that subgroup is, I would be fine with that. I just don't think people.
yeah,
I think you're supposed to put an effort.
yeah. Um, because I read recently somebody gave me a copy of Demon Copperhead, and the author there, it's like she you know wrote it from the point of view of a child growing up in like rural poverty Appalachia, and but like she did tons of research, talked to tons of people, like representing that community, like in a way that didn't make fun of them or anything like that was important. And it comes across when you
Right,
read it. It feels authentic, even though like that's not how she grew up, that's not how she lived, but she made a point, like you said,
right.
make it authentic.
Yeah, and I think that's respectful.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you wearing something like a costume for real, and that's disrespectful.
Yeah,
So I think as authors, as writers, as artists, I think it's our job to be classy about it, to be, civilized about it, respectful.
yeah. Because I think that's a big debate with in seeing like in writing and in reading, seeing diversity in books, diversity among authors. Like I think that comes in a conflict when, like you said, people are not being authentic, and like I think about
It's
the
true.
yeah,
Bro, I was listening to a audio book of an extreme horror book like a little while ago. Um and in the the audio book, the narrator, he pronounced the name of a town in Maryland wrong. Okay. And in the book, like hella people get killed and brutalized and horrible things happen. But I'm just driving in my car, just listening to this audio book, just fine. But the moment I heard that town named wrong, oh my God, it was the most disrespectful thing. You can kill as many people as you want in that book, but don't pronounce the town name wrong. So like, I don't know, shit like that for me, that'll take
yeah,
me out of the element.
yeah. It's like the whenever like I live in Oklahoma, so anytime I have the GPS going and it pronounces a town name, it's like that's not even close, not even close to what it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because yeah,
Absolutely.
people get when I first moved up here, there's a town called Miami, and it's spelled Miami, and I didn't. I just moved here, so I didn't know any better. And I said something about Miami, Oklahoma. People were like, "No, it's Miami." I'm so, I got you got. It. I'll never make that mistake again.
And it's ingrained in you now.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Mm.
I try to get names right. Places and people want to get them right.
Definitely, definitely. I feel you on that.
Um, well, I know Ghost of West Baltimore just came out, but what are you working on anything new right now? Is there anything new on the
I
horizon?
am. Yeah, I have a project coming out with Apocalypse Party next year called Eradicator.
Oh,
It's
nice.
I'm pretty excited about it. It's something different, and I was always excited to work. I always wanted to work with them since I started getting into their catalog, especially since I found about Charlene Ellsby and B.R. Yeager.
Mhm.
Have you read any of their work?
I've read B.R. Yeager,
Yeah,
and
he's crazy. Man, he's so good.
yeah, like, well, that's gotta be awesome. Like, you start at one point, like, you look up to these publishers and these writers, and you're like,
Right.
that's, but then you get to the point where you are colleagues and you're working together and you're working for them. That's like I said, like,
Exactly, bro. That's
it's gotta
how I
feel
wanted
great.
to do it, bro. I wanted to publish Ghosts of East Baltimore with Broken River Books because I read a book by J. David Osborne, a collection of short stories called Our Blood and Its Blind Circuit. Before I had only had like one pro rate story by then. Like you feel me? Like I'd only put
Yeah,
out like one joint and shit. And I didn't know nobody. But I read that collection and I was like, this shit is crazy. He got it. They gotta put out Go See Baltimore. So I was like, I reached out to him. I was like, yo, I made my case, and I
yeah,
was like, check this out. And J. David Osborne wanted to put it out. And I felt the same way about this book with Apocalypse Party. Like, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I didn't write this book and then be eradicated. I didn't write it and then be like, all right, who am I gonna shop it to? I wrote that shit and I hit up Ben at Apocalypse Party. I was like, yo, I just crushed all of Charlene and Yeager's catalog, and then I wrote this for y'all. Cause sometimes a publisher, it's like a record label, It's got a
yeah.
vibe, you know what I mean? You just want to rock with them. You just want to put something out with them.
Well, I feel like publishers probably appreciate that because the one constant complaint I see talking about is when they open for submissions, it's like, please read our guidelines, read a book we've put out, do something so you know what we're into and what we want to put out. And so many people just kind of like send everything everywhere, like put everything against the wall, see what sticks. So they probably
I think
appreciate
that's
that you're like,
disrespectful.
yeah, yeah, it is. It's one of those like it's a common mistake, when you first start out. Is what I did was sending things to places. It's like, oh well, maybe I'll be the exception. They'll just like this. No, they won't. Like like I said, it's a respect thing. Take your time, research publishers, make sure you're a fit.
It is. And Broken River Books and Ghoulish and Apocalypse Party, they are going to put in Clash, they're going to put out different vibes. Like I write something completely different for Clash than I'm gonna write for Apocalypse Party than I'm gonna write for Broken River. You feel me?
Yeah,
Because they have different vibes, different sounds, different feel, and they gonna do what they do with it better if you rock with the way they're supposed to rock with. If you do some dumb shit that don't go with what they do, you probably not gonna sell that many copies. And when it come down to it, we need to sell copies because that's how we can write more books. You feel me?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
that's how I think about it.
Yeah, because I've definitely like I was working on one. I'm still working on it over the summer, and I initially was like, oh, maybe I can get this done in time because Ghoulish had opened up. But then the more I
Mhm.
looked at mine, I was like, it's not the Ghoulish vibe.
You
I don't think
see?
it's yeah. It's like I'm gonna keep working on it, but I don't think they would be interested in what I'm doing right now at the moment. But one day I hope to write the thing just weird enough for like publisher like Ghoulish. Like that's just get something weird
You'll
enough.
get it. You'll get it. You'll be inspired by a book from Ghoulish, and then you'll just be like, "Oh shit!" And then you got it. You'll know. That's what happened to me, bro. I was inspired by an AP book, a couple of them, and I was like, "I gotta do this." So it's gonna happen to you too. Have you read Justin Lutz's book from Ghoulish? The
Uh,
new one, "Give Unto Us"?
oh no, I haven't yet. No.
It's very good. It's very good, and it is very authentic, and it is very Pennsylvania. It's very good. I like it very much. It's a good one, and
Okay,
it fits.
all right, I gotta check that
Yes.
out. We'll talk about, writing things for publishers or writing specific, genres when you read something. Is there a type of book or a style or a subgenre of horror that you've wanted to write but you haven't done it yet, but you're like that's like your white whale. You're gonna eventually write that kind of book.
Yeah. I want to, yeah, I want to write something bigger, and what I mean by bigger is just I don't know how to say it. Something with more moving parts.
Yeah,
More moving parts, but I smoke a lot of weed. That's why I write novellas.
yeah,
If I ain't smoke weed, I would write novels because then I wouldn't forget what happened in the beginning part of the book when I'm writing it. You feel me? But I smoke weed, so I write novellas. So so nah, but nah, I want to write something bigger with more moving parts one day. Um, I don't know how else to articulate that, and I don't necessarily mean like the stand or a dark tower type of thing.
yeah,
I just mean more things happen. They could even happen in the same amount of space. I'm trying. I think of a book that has something like this before a conversation ends. But you know what? Actually, I got one for. Have you ever read Whale Fall?
not yet. I have it, but I haven't started it yet.
That's a big book. I don't know how to say it other than there's a lot of emotion, a lot that happens, a lot of horror, a lot of body horror, a lot of family shit, there's a lot that happens in that book, is what I'm saying. And I want to write something with a lot that
Yeah,
happened, like a lot of parts.
yeah,
Hmm.
I know what you mean. The ones that like because like there's novellas that you devour them because like they move so quick and they pull you in, but then there's like the stories like that, the big stories, not necessarily in page length, but the kind that like you read them a
Yeah,
couple chapters at a time, like they're big and
yeah,
draw you in, but like you're not there's no race to the finish.
right. It feels like there's a lot of like an open world video game. Like
Yeah,
there's just a lot to explore in that book. It's something to do with world building somehow. And then, not to be cliche, I don't know what. So it's something with that. I think I don't know. But we gonna figure it out, bro. We gonna figure it out. We gonna make it happen.
yeah,
That's what we
yeah.
gonna do.
No, I love books like that where it's like the it's not just the story happening to the protagonist, it's the town itself, the people itself, like everybody. There's an entire world happening
Right.
around your character, like independent of your character, just yeah. And that's
And
that like I said,
there
that is tough to do.
and there are opposites of that I think are good too. There's some very claustrophobic stories that are still
Yeah,
epic, like American Psycho or The Wasp Factory. To me, those are very, you know,
yeah,
to me, they're very claustrophobic, even though a lot is happening. I don't
yeah,
know. This is, I don't know.
yeah. That's kind of like I mean reading The Fisherman right now, there is like this whole town in it, but it does feel very claustrophobic. Like, everyone feels isolated, everybody feels like exposed and in danger.
Right, right. Yeah.
um
Mhm.
Well, man, thank you again for coming on here. I
Hell
appreciate
yeah.
it. Like, this has been awesome,
Hell yeah.
and yeah, anybody reading, or watching this, um, check out Ghost of East Baltimore, and then the sequel Ghost of West Baltimore just came out, and yeah, just keep an eye out for upcoming from Apocalypse Party. Yeah, David Simmons.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me on here. It's been real. Appreciate you.